Successful people do things differently than unsuccessful people. There's usually patterns that they follow that unsuccessful people don't. You can study the successful people
Yeah.
and figure out what they're doing differently
Yeah.
and improve that category of your life.
Welcome back to another episode of More Than Marketing. Looking forward to this one. I'm your host, Arsha Mirsha, here with Will Chow today. And looking forward to it because true to the name of More Than Marketing, we'll talk about some marketing stuff, but Will here, I got a lot of respect for him. He's a young, hungry guy, and he's into success and personal development. Personal development, I think, is the best way of putting it, right?
Yeah,
Personal
that's what
development, because success can be defined so many different ways.
Absolutely, yes.
Will's into this personal development thing. He reads a ton. He's always coming up with good suggestions, not just for the agency here, Web Mechanics Agency, but for me as a CEO. He'll be like, "Hey, I read this book and I want to give you my 15-minute synopsis of it," and I love that. I think that's super cool because I think of myself as open-minded, so I appreciate someone like you coming in and saying, "Hey, will you listen to me?" And then hopefully you appreciate that I'm like, "Yes,"
For sure.
So
Yeah.
So Will, what do you do here at Web Mechanics? Explain to the people.
Yeah, so when I first came on Web Mechanics, I was working client side and helping other clients succeed. I was known as the SEO guy, so that was my main focus, and I also helped support them in other areas like Facebook ads and AdWords and so forth. And then
And before Web Mechanics, we somehow, I guess you applied to us or we found you or something like that. You were doing something, your own site, and still are, obviously, but you had your own kind of experience, right?
Yeah, so I was really into digital marketing as a hobby. So I had my own site. I bought some really expensive courses, followed Gary Vaynerchuk, all the other people you're aware of that you may have heard of, Tim Schmoyer, Neil Patel, Brian Dean. And so it was more of like a hobby, and I actually majored in biology. So it was, I didn't really even consider it. Yeah, you were like a
bioinformatics.
Bioinformatics, that's
and
awesome.
comp sci, but because they go together, yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't really even consider it as like a possible career.
Right.
It was just like, maybe this would be really fun to do and potentially turn into a career. But it was like way off in the distance, and like, long story short, I kind of lucked out and found this place, and it's a lot more fun than I would have had doing research at some pharmacy.
That's what I say. Yeah,
Yeah.
research at some pharmacy. Me too.
Yeah.
That was kind of my path, either that or med school. And it's like, I like you kind of fell into this, and very happy that I did because this industry is a lot of fun. It's you get to see the results of your work. It's fast paced. It's always changing, so there's always something new. If you like that, then it's fun. Also, like you're able to kind of persuade and influence people. I think that's I think that's really cool. I think that's really powerful and attractive for like digital marketing or digital marketing schools. You get feedback in real time. You get to real time analytics. You get to see what your campaigns are doing. So I think that this is a great field. I know you think this is a great field. How about for like the young, I'm gonna say young or maybe even career transitioners out there who are like, hey, I want to get my hand into digital marketing. What do you suggest? Like, how can they get in? They don't have any marketing experience, or even people who maybe have a marketing degree. It's like, what should they do?
Yeah, so I think digital marketing is a fantastic industry to get into, even if your degree wasn't in that field.
Yeah.
It's something where you can work your way up to a great income doing something that's really cool, cutting edge, and learn it yourself, or get up to speed in like a year or less. So it's something that I'm a living example of that, and a lot of people have been really getting into and finding out, sometimes on accident, and it's really helped them find a career that's
I think that's cool as far as find the career, because it's a career. But like, how do you start a career?
Yeah, so I think the first step, if you want to get into this field, is, you know, get an internship or start learning,
Yeah.
whether that's on your own or with other people.
Yes.
A lot of people downplay the internship because they don't want to work for free or they don't want to work for a minimal wage.
Right.
But it's a hard industry to get your foot in the door in.
Yep.
But once you do, like it's so much easier.
It's rewarding.
Yeah.
And I want to go even back, if I may.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you first and foremost wholeheartedly on the internship. I agree, definitely. You know, that's kind of step one. But computer science will say there's a step before that, step 0.
Mm-hmm.
And I think step 0, you also alluded to it and said it, which is learn on your own. So you may or may not, I may or may not told you this, but I'll say it here, is that when Chris and I interview people, especially not so much today, somewhat today also, but in the past, people didn't necessarily have experience in digital marketing, but we needed help. So what did we look for, right? And we didn't have much to pay either, so we couldn't go out and get someone who actually had experience. So what we looked for was, we call it evidence of hustle. And we saw that in you too, big time, because you had your own site and you were like, I think you said kind of in the interview, you were like, hey, I have this site, it's about this niche, and I noticed that if I wrote on these topics, I would get this traffic, and now I'm thinking about how to monetize it. That's hustle. Like, you weren't getting paid for that. You're just doing it on your own, you know? So people, from my perspective, like if you're in college or if you want a career transition, there's no barrier to entry. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely, yeah.
Like, you can set up your own blog, WordPress.com, free. Yeah. Set up your own blog. Go do some Google searching around on like what is SEO, best practices. Moz has a great guide, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Like that way, you're not getting paid. Don't expect to get paid, but you are learning.
Yeah, this is a very exciting time to be alive because right now, the entertainment and media industry is just being splintered, and the barrier to entry has just gone to like close to zero. If you have a smartphone, you can get in the game, which makes it very, very interesting. I think it'll never be the same as before, where Oprah was one of 4 TV networks, and when she aired something, that was your only choice to watch. Right. Now there's thousands of people.
So much content.
But it also means that you yourself can really become the master of your own niche. Let's say you're a fisher or a fisherman of some sort, and you sell this like unique niche fishing thing. You can like become the expert in that field.
Authority on that.
And the authority. And, you can flow through the masses and just pick out those people who are like red hot prospects. Yeah. To follow you on social.
Well, they'll want to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or advertise on Facebook.
Right. Yeah, no, I completely agree. Actually, I know some people from UMBC that are doing this channel, Senko Skipper. Shout out to them. Because they're they go fishing and they videotape it. It's really cool. It's actually really interesting. You learn about fish and how to fish and all that. So.
Oh wow!
I don't know how they're doing it, if they're monetizing it, but they're still posting, so they're still at it. That's good,
Yeah, for sure.
So okay, so I'm hustling. I'm writing. Maybe you bought one of these guides and you think you're going to set up a Shopify store and get rich quick doing drop shipping. Don't do that. It's a bad idea. But my opinion. But okay, so I'm doing that. Then the internship gets your foot in the door, right? Most internships are paid these days. And then I don't know what else.
Well, I think the big thing is getting your foot in the door for that job or that internship. I think that's really the big pivot point where you have to beat the competition who are also applying.
Yes.
And if I'm going to give you a few tips that you can use right now, and I think it'll really help you do that. There's simple tips, and the thing is, most people don't do them, which is why they just kind of fail at this. But it's just about like, first thing is like, start forming relationships. Like, relationships are how you get your foot in the door. Like, go to networking events.
It's never too early to go to a networking event.
Or if you're still in college, meet with your marketing directors or your professors and like really get to know them. Ask them if they know anyone.
Get involved with like the AMA, American
Yeah.
Marketing Association. They're all there at every college, you know.
Yeah, I used to be a doubter of like this concept. I thought it was all meritocracy. I thought like if you had the skills, you don't need to know anyone. Like you should get your way in. But then I started interviewing a bunch of people on LinkedIn, and then I went to a bunch of conferences with like people who got into like really tough jobs, and they all said like it's kind of sad, but like I got there because I knew the right person.
Who you know, not necessarily what you know.
And that doesn't necessarily mean that you don't have to have the skills or that it's an unfair world.
Right.
You just kind of have to change your perspective and say, okay, this is an important part of succeeding.
Yeah.
How can I develop this skill as well to start networking and forming relationships with people who are in industries that I want to be a part of?
It's a combo of who you know and what you know.
Exactly.
You know,
Because
but it's
you
not
don't
just
have the skills.
But it's not just one or the other.
Exactly.
Right? So it's not, hey, meritocracy. I know everything. I'm the best, but maybe you're not good with people, or you don't have relationships. Not going to work. Or I have relationships. I'm great with people, but then you get in, and you're expected to, perform, and then so you got to have that balance. I think is.
Yeah. I would say it's even more of a meritocracy in this industry because everything you need to learn, you can learn for free online.
Yeah.
You can't really do that when you can't pay for law school
or med school. Yeah, I would agree. Yeah. It's a good point.
So that's the first tip: get to know someone.
Yes.
And second tip would be go above and beyond, go the extra mile.
Uh-huh.
I think a lot of people just they do the bare minimum. Like everyone applies online with a online PDF resume, and they go through the steps on the web form online, and they do the bare minimum to answer the questions. No, I haven't seen a single person like come to this office and deliver like some flowers or like show that they're willing to work for free and show up at the front door or do anything like extra. But those little things like really open people's eyes, especially for a smaller agency. Now, for large corporations, I tried, like one time I tried showing up in a suit there, and the security guard wouldn't let me in. So maybe not for large corporations.
But at the same time, those are people too. I mean, like, if you know who you would work with, you connect with them on LinkedIn, maybe say, can I buy you a coffee? I want to just learn more.
Yes.
Can you mentor me? Like something like that to get into the larger ones, for instance. Admittedly, yeah, you're right. If you show up unannounced and all that, you might get kicked out by security, right?
Yeah, but for small businesses, they're just a 30-person or 10-person shop. Like they're going to value that.
Pay attention,
Yeah, when you show up at the door.
Did you know, Jarrett, 6 years ago now, he made a music video.
So for context, Jared is our director of
sales business development. Yeah. So 6 years ago or so, or maybe 7 now, time flies. He made a music video because he played guitar. So he made a music video as part of his application. More recently, Anthony works under director of operations, the operations strategist. He does a lot of recruiting here. He animated our logo. So our logo has a little like a gear, what looks like a gear in it. He animated that. He's not an animator. That's not his he didn't learn that in school. He just Googled around, figured it out, But those little touches did go a long way. 7 years ago and just 1 year ago with Anthony, So I agree with you. I think that's, again, back to that evidence of hustle. That's what Chris and I call it. It's evidence of hustle is, hey, look, like I'm willing to go outside of my comfort zone and do something different to get attention. Isn't that what marketing is? It's attention. I mean, part of it at least, right?
Yeah, attention, creativity.
Yeah.
I actually heard about the animated thing, and I ranted and raved about it to Brian.
Yeah.
I think,
Thanks for making that happen.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome.
That matters.
Yeah.
So I got 2 more tips for you.
Bring
here.
it on.
When you're being interviewed for a job interview, it's not just the time to like tell your life story and just give information. I've sat in on a few job interviews and intern applications, and sometimes they just we'll ask them a question and they'll just talk about stuff, and it doesn't relate at all to positioning them as a better candidate for the position at hand.
Right.
So like realize that you're there to actually present value. So when you're being asked a question like, what do you like to do for fun, or what's your favorite holiday plans? They're not just asking it to ask it. Like sometimes they're there to ask you for personality or so forth.
True.
But most of the time they're asking it for a reason. So don't just give an answer like, I like to watch Netflix. That doesn't give any value to positioning you better. And sure, you might like Netflix. You might like 20, 50 things. Most people do. But in that short amount of time you're given, at least do something. Have some intent to like position yourself to be a desirable candidate.
Well,
And
what else should they say though? Like if Netflix is the answer, what else would you like Netflix? Like,
well, you should definitely be honest with your answer.
Right.
But usually everyone has something that they can say that's honest that can position them better. So it might be like, okay, you like Netflix and you also like watching YouTube and videos on YouTube.
Well, what about Netflix and specifically like you might watch, whatever is categorized as junk TV, but you might watch that, but you might also watch documentaries. So you would say, hey, I like documentaries. Most recently I watched Fork Over Knives, and I learned that maybe I should change my diet or something like that.
Great, yeah, and that shows that, they're learning and educating
You're learning, that's
themselves.
what shows that, yeah.
And
Because that's what employers
Yeah.
want. Employers want to see that, right? They want to see that you're open-minded. They want to see that you're learning and trainable and coachable,
Yeah, or if you really are just someone who's like average and you really just like watching Netflix and Stranger Things and YouTube, you could say that I like YouTube a lot. I watch a lot of YouTube, so I'm very well versed in the marketing aspect of it because I've been being shot ads, so I know the interface. Whereas someone a generation older doesn't because they don't watch YouTube as much.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So like that's relating it
to the
I'll add one more
skill.
thing to your thing, to your interview thing. Is like, okay, if you're coming in and you're being interviewed, of course you're going to be asked a lot of questions, but please come with questions yourself. That shows that you care.
Yes.
The best candidates I interview, they interview me, And I really appreciate that. That shows that they did their research, they did their homework, and they're curious. They're curious about something. They need to know something. Because at the end of the day, a job is a relationship too. It's got to be mutually beneficial. It has to be a win-win. If you have all the skills and I hire you, but you hate the job, you're going to be gone soon. And that's not good for anyone, and maybe it's good for short term, but I don't know. I think long term. So that's why the interview should, in my opinion, be a two-way street.
Would you say a turn off is when you ask them, do you have any questions left?
And they say no. Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, if they don't have any left and they've already asked some, it's not a turn off, right? But if it's, hey, what questions do you have for us? Oh, no, I don't have any. And they don't have any at all ever. Like you don't have anything you want to know about the company you're about to work for a third of your day every day. How does that make sense?
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's just, don't get me started.
Yeah, but that's very interesting because like when I was younger, I assumed like, maybe I shouldn't ask questions because like, I don't want to seem like I don't know something. But now that I know better,
it's okay to ask questions that that you're genuinely curious about. Like, don't ask them, oh, can you show me the Google Ads interface, because I've never been in it. That doesn't make sense. But ask, what is the culture like here? Or are the people friendly? I don't know. Or what kind of clients do you work with? I'm just thinking random things that you might want to be interested in. But if you spend any time on our website or any company's website, you'll come up with questions.
Yeah. So I got one last tip for you on this topic. When you're at a job fair or like a career fair or something like that, or you're just talking to someone in general, don't be too canned in your responses. I've heard, Anthony and other people from operations have this issue when they are at a job fair and they have a booth. A lot of people will come in with their canned elevator pitch and everything they say is very robotic. And sometimes the employer just wants to know you as a person. So you sometimes have to, of course you can say that elevator pitch, but then follow it up with something like real.
Something real and personal.
It has to be a human-to-human interaction and not
agree.
just like, one thing after the other.
Completely agree with you. Completely agree with you. And on that human interaction, I want to move on because at the beginning of this episode, I said like I have respect for you because you're, uh, very personal development driven, very goal oriented, and always looking to improve. And so I appreciate that about you. And Chris and I are like that as well. And like I'm into NLP,
NLP, yes.
neuro linguistic programming, law of attraction, that kind of stuff. I know you're into like science backed
Hmm.
performance or personal development, right?
Yes, yes.
So let's talk about that a little bit because I have a bunch of books I want to talk about.
Hmm.
You have some books?
Yeah. So, we take it from different approaches. I'm more science backed. You're more law of attraction. But I'm open minded too. So I've been dabbling in law of attraction as well. And so, this is something that is a huge hobby of mine.
Yeah.
And I'm just, reading books like
And
nonstop.
I'm sorry. Well, let me
Yeah.
frame this up because
Mhm.
because we talked about digital marketing being a fast-paced world.
Mhm.
It changes all the time, so you got to be learning. You got to be open-minded. You got to be curious. I think in this arena. So this like personal development. If you're into personal development, you're basically training yourself to always be getting better. And whether you're doing that for soft skills such as like I don't know, time management or personal relationships, even if you're only doing it for soft skills, you're training your mind to always be adapting and growing and learning so that when the hard skills change as well, you're quickly able to adapt. Right?
Yeah.
So that's why that's coming back to the evidence of hustle. I think that when we see people who are just kind of go-getters and they get after it, and maybe they, some people show it in different ways. Some people, are on sports. I love people who play sports because it's like it's an extracurricular. I love people who play instruments. It's an extracurricular. It's not just I go to school and I come home and I don't know, play video games. Video games are great too, but do some. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm gonna get flamed for talking about video games. A lot of people here play video games. Hey, I play video games too, okay, but I also read and other activities. So. But yeah, so I wanted to frame that up because I think this is really important for whether you're a web developer or a designer or a marketer or copywriter to always be learning.
Yeah. So like successful people do things differently than unsuccessful people. There's usually patterns that they follow that unsuccessful people don't. So whatever you're trying to do and get better at in life, most people want, more income, wealth, more happiness.
Yeah.
Some want more health. They want to look and feel more attractive. And others just want better relationships. All those fields and any subcategory in there, you can study the successful people and figure out what they're doing differently and improve that category of your life.
Yeah. Do you have any? What is your? I don't know, success tips. I know you read a lot. So is there any that come to mind?
Yeah. So like, start off with like what your big goal is in life, like, and then like drill it down to like what you need to do today or next week to get there. Some people want more income, and then you kind of have to figure out like what can I do to get there from a yearly and monthly standpoint.
Yeah.
And there's books on that.
I think goal setting in that is really good. Like you said, like what's my end goal, and then I break that down into chunks. Great book for that. Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow Rich. Fantastic book for that. For the income, especially for the income side. But it's not just something. It mixes. What's cool about Think and Grow Rich is it mixes law of attraction with actual, day to day. Like how am I going to actually implement this? What am I going to do to get these returns? So it's a mix of mental and physical. So I love books, man. So I'm going to suggest that one. Think and Grow Rich.
I'll follow that up with Atomic Habits. So this is a new book that James Clear just came out with.
Okay.
And it goes into the exact science there's been decades of research on the
Atomic
science
habits.
of habit formation.
Yeah, I would agree.
And so,
Discipline.
yeah, if your habits are what you do every single day, so
Yeah.
if you can tweak them to be a little bit better, whether it's going to the gym more or working a little bit harder or whatever else, you can improve over the rest of your life. If most people live to 100, so that's a long span. So there's a lot of science nowadays to back up a lot of these things that
Most people live to 100. That's news to me. I would be happy with 90, 80.
Yeah, our lifespans are gradually
Our
increasing.
lifespans are increasing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I saw something recently that it actually has slowed down for the U.S. Interesting enough, yeah. Or actually, maybe it went backwards. Oh yeah, it went backwards. You know why? Because of the heroin epidemic.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, believe it or not, that actually made an impact. Crazy, right?
Huh.
Yeah. Anyway, off that and on to other things. So, okay, habits. I completely agree. Discipline. You mentioned earlier about how, it is what you know. There is meritocracy, but it's also who you know. So start networking, start building relationships. You mentioned that earlier. I think that's a fantastic tip. I completely agree with that. One of the things I tell people, especially young people, is that no matter what you do, 99.99% of you out there, no matter what you do, you're going to work with other people. Whether that other person is a colleague, your boss, a client, a partner, a vendor, it doesn't matter. You will deal with humans. That's my belief, right? There are some jobs out there maybe that you're not dealing with humans. So if you believe that, if you think that's true, then you should probably spend some time developing your soft skills, human skills. Perfect book for that. It used to be, and I'm slapping myself right now because it's no longer, but I'm going to fix that, a required reading for anyone any new member to web mechanics. We used to give them that audiobook, the MP3, and say, it actually was MP3s then, read this book.
Oh, wow.
How to Win Friends and Influence People. Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends, Influence People. I will buy that book for anybody just because I think anyone who reads that makes the world a better place.
You heard it here first.
I'm serious. I'll buy it.
Arsham is opening that up to listeners.
Oh man, there goes $1,000. No, but seriously, I really, it used to be required reading here, and I'm going to bring that back. So, a couple more before time's going to run out. What else comes to mind?
Yeah, so you can really subsect and drill down to whatever you're looking for. So, like, let's say you want to be like a top singer in the entertainment industry. L.A. Reid wrote "Sing to Me." He is like the king of finding talent in Hollywood. He was on X Factor, and let's say let's say you're not in the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
Let's say you just want to get better at sports performance because you're a tennis player. There are books by athletes who played tennis. Garry Kasparov, the greatest chess player of all time, wrote a book on how he did it.
Really?
Yeah. So like almost,
I didn't know that. There's
so many books that are just shocking out there that you wouldn't even know existed. Michael Ovitz, he just released a book. He's a founder of Creative Artist Agency.
Okay.
And he started from nothing, and now he has Tom Cruise. He has all these big names under his umbrella. He's it's like the number one agency in entertainment.
That's awesome.
And he wrote a book on how he did it. The founder of Nike wrote a book.
I love it.
So like whatever you're trying to do and figure out, usually there's someone who's written a book about it. Not always, but
or has a podcast about or a YouTube channel. The point is, personal development is not only do you grow from it and learn from it, you also, I find motivation and inspiration from it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, for me, like, I just get motivated when I listen to those kind of things or I read those kind of books, So.
Yeah, that's a great point. It doesn't have to be a book. If you hate reading, listen to audiobooks, listen to podcasts, watch YouTube videos, commencement speeches, whatever it is, there's, room for improvement.
We can go on forever, but I think we should just wrap it up because otherwise we will go on forever. But I really enjoyed this episode because it's more than marketing, it's personal development. You do that, and then your marketing skills get sharper too, right? So
Yes.
thank you for sharing your time with me and your knowledge. If you all out there want to hear more about this, let us know. Happy to do more of these or talk to you personally. Right?
Yes.
Put it here, man. Thank you, Will.
Thank you. Glad to
Cheers.
be here.